So the first time I listened intently to this speech or to that speech was in 2014. I was on deployment in El Salvador, and somehow I ended up listening to the entire speech. It was right after Mike Brown was killed, and I was just surfing the web for some type of answer. You can imagine being in a white male-dominated institution, how hard it was trying to heal from Trayvon Martin and then healing from Mike Brown. And I remember on deployment, there was a white superior, and he would greet me as, "What's up, Doug?" And so, yeah, I was just looking for answers. I was going through all of the history that I was learning, the knowledge that I brought on deployment with me, and I stumbled upon this speech. And at first, when I listened, I recognized it as an epilogue. It was Dr. King's last speech. He didn't know it was his last speech, but it seemed like somewhere in his spirit, it was like the tone in which he spoke, the conviction that he was speaking with, it was like he knew that, I might not see the kingdom, or I might not see the realization of the promised land, but I know that I have no fear. I know that I have to go on. But it wasn't until more reflection from me that I realized that it was a call to action. It was a call to action for me to get free. And getting free for me was learning how to face those emotions that I was dealing with, how to deal with the not only childhood trauma, but also racial trauma, and also the stress from being in a white male-dominated institution. That was a lot of me, and it's ironic that this is a mugshot because suppressing my emotions kind of led me into a self-imposed prison. I was a prisoner to my own thoughts, a prisoner to my own emotions, and I was just captive. I thought that I was free, I thought that I was functioning as a regular human being walking around, but there was so much, as you can see his shoulders are slumped, there were so many burdens, just so much that I was carrying with me. And his work, along with the works of Malcolm X, W.E.B. Du Bois, Bell Hooks, Assata Shakur, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, and so many others, they are much more than just mere sound bites and words of revolutionaries. Their words are like, they've become our prophets. Their words and their literary work is like scriptures now, and we can reference them to see how we can get free. But we shouldn't deify them because just like us, they are human and they are subject to error. But we should consider their words when fighting to dismantle the illusions that this system creates. And while Dr. King and the other prophets definitely showed me how to get free, it wasn't until I discovered an ancient practice that I learned how to stay free.
Hello, self, I know the feelings you felt. Know them feelings you feeling you by yourself. Can't replenish your limit. No, hold up. Can't replenish your limit enough to replenish health. Too contingent on wicked energies that you felt. But look, they low key. Don't want to see you okay. They taking stabs at you, OJ. Maybe that joke's in potaste. And if it is, I hope they reach inside their soul and know they don't have to visit if they ain't planning to live it. You rent it or be a tenant. I'm living without your penance. A breath of fresh air. I'm venting with every sentence. This food for your soul, this here is for your appendix. But never let me feed it if it wasn't really needed. I'm just a messenger, homie. I'm supplying my art. Too much drive for most, like I retired my walk. You gotta learn before you speak. Now I'm required to talk. And I'm flyer than all. Sit back, admire the hawk.
And what I'm gonna say is it's not. It's just for recording. But I'm screaming peace to the beastly who deceit these folks, besmirched. Thoughts of Smurfs see they're tiny. I search the skies for silver lining, but all I see in here is racism's dead. I know they're lying, so I pry. Open the eyes of my prey, and then I pray that he learns better ways. Okay, wait, who's stalking who with a gun? Who shot who dead in the chest? Wait a minute, check the skin color. Okay, it was the fence. But I'm still in the fence. I mean, how dare Trayvon be young and black and never be lynched? How dare he live and thrive and dream in a sense? How dare he rock a hoodie? It doesn't make sense. I wonder if he thought the law was just to get looked over. Open your eyes, Trayvons and Emmett Tills. Let's keep it real, it was never over. I guess because I'm black, I'm automatically vulgar. Yeah, so let Fox News tell it. Zimmerman's a hero. We all need N-word repellent. Shoot, we only here because Master just had to draft you. Now they think we only have motives to clap you. I thought this supposed to be the land of the equal. But if I shot a white 17-year-old and claimed defense, then I wonder what the police would do.
They say what defines you as a man is your ability to make a plan. Can you do whatever is necessary to provide for your family? When that pivotal moment in life happens, will you be able to take a stand? And let's not forget the elements that get added when your skin is just a little bit more tan. See, as black men, we have experiences that differ from any other. Some of us lost our daddy to the system, causing us to reap the struggles of being raised by a single mother. Growing up in the streets, you pray you see 25 before losing your life to another brother. As if that wasn't bad enough, we 10 times less likely to get hired simply due to our color. So when they tell us don't cry, be a man, that extends far deeper than just toxic masculinity. A lot of us have been forced to keep that pain in so long we don't even know our true identity. We've been tricked to believe that playing ball or rapping is our only outlets, to the point where we aren't even aware of our other capabilities. We fear to express our emotions and break down because for far too long it's been seen as wrong to show a little bit of vulnerability. But I stand here today to tell you as a black man, you have no limitations. Because despite past and present oppression, we must remember that black men can lead whole nations. And showing emotions is a testimony to your strength as a man. So when it comes to expressing feelings, let's get rid of those negative connotations. For far too long, we've had a grand misconception of what defines a man, but it's not too late to change the narrative for future generations.
It's like, sometimes I wonder if I just say it with my chest, if things will maybe work out best. Studying the rules of the game, still I feel I may flunk the test. Partially prudent, stuck in the moment, beautifully grotesque. Melatonin, they sleeping on me, I guess they got the rest. My losses have their lessons, and with them come progress. My wins are just a sign of my diligence. A novelist, you're a novelty. My homie's brother used to with mob too deep, got shot at a party. Now I feel like we lost a prodigy. Apologies, I know I lack consistency, cracking under pressure, living by a code, call me Da Vinci. Penalties weighing hard on me. F it, I had a problem, reluctant to admit all of it. Never faith of a Protestant, problematic, this is the pits. While I'm pitching fits over bass lines at home and stuff, melodies and some drums that hit. Sometimes I do for no other reasons, but to exercise my demons, I picture my mother screaming, she's screaming out, hell yeah.
So we live in an environment that makes us look forward to retirement, forgetting that each and every single one of us has a specific assignment. Therefore, we go from place to place believing freedom is within a state, but soon brought to our demise, forced to see a compromise that belittles love and promotes hate. Pop a Xan and maybe two, it might take away the pain, even if only for just a few. Striving to shake the feeling of inward killings, because the depression ain't nothing new. Where does inner peace lie? How does a free bird fly? I can't just keep on getting high. I look for answers from up above, but all I see is an empty sky. Suicide looking tempting, especially when the demon's steady hinting. Folks around ask, is my mind sound? I say I'm fine, I'm lying like I'm Clinton. Riding through town with the radio off because the thoughts louder than the beats of my heart. Thinking my intellect is the key, but it's about more than just being smart. You see, I took all their classes and I made all their grades, conditioned to believe with the education all my problems would soon fade. But even with degrees on the wall, I slowly come to my fall. I used to have an outlet that consisted of bouncing the ball as I walked through the halls. Truth is, it was all temporary. In reality, it's kind of scary, because I find peace within my rhymes, because I spit no tales of a fairy. But how can I free a spirit that's always been trapped? How do I translate the truth to the public? Lately, I can't break through because their mind state too disrupted. Politicians got them confused, took their trust and misused and abused. Then they awakened to the government scheme, setting off their burning fuse. But some stay trapped in a web of lies, because the truth is as unfavorable as a fly. But is it comfort or fear from hell is it comfort or the fear from a pastor that threatens with hell if you cut your ties? Too many issues to think of, too many habits to try to break apart. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, although exposure to what's real is a good start. One day we'll all see the truth. Our lack of awareness from the other side bears so much low-hanging fruit. We got to fixate our minds on more spiritual matters and not just accumulating loot. These are just the words of a man who attempts to spread love. I see you facing the conflicting factors of the world and wish to see you rise above. My brother, my sister, I pray for you that you transition your mind in a position brand new, because in the brain is where it starts, the beginning of a new pure heart. And if I don't inspire them all, then I'll just settle for a few.
I knew that you were my kind of human when I first heard you say that we're all born naked and the rest is just drag. I was a young kid and I thought, is everybody getting that this is all kind of an illusion? Kind of an illusion. Is everybody getting that this is all kind of an illusion? Get it now. Is everybody getting that this is all an illusion? Charlie, you get it.
Thank you so much. I'm an artist, so that makes me sensitive about my stuff. No, just kidding. I'm sorry? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that all you producing everything? Or you completely solo?
Yeah, I produce.
Actually,
Thank you. So, like I said, that one was entitled "Get It Now," and for me, that song means that, as RuPaul said, like, this is all an illusion. Everything that the system has created up until this point is unreal, and you can study the philosophers of the past, you know, Rousseau, Paine, Aristotle, Socrates, everything that humans have created up until this point that wasn't created by God, that's not original. It's all an illusion that we've created to give ourselves a sense of comfort, a sense of security. And for me, that song says, you know, we can get it now, we can change it, we can create something better. We can do something where we can bring that which is within or that which is above, you know, without, or bring it below. And, but the reason we're here today is, you know, to dive into art and to also get free, stay free, and set free. And before we explore this painting right here, I'll move over a little bit. I wanted to lead everyone in a meditation, if that's okay. Okay? Is that okay with everybody? Yes. Okay. So today we'll be exploring a practice to help restore peace, build stability, and shift our perspective. To start, take a moment to shake and release any tension you may be holding in your body. Find a comfortable position and allow your body to sit tall like a mountain without forcing it. Place your hands on your knees and give your shoulders permission to fall away from your ears. And whenever you're ready, close your eyes. Take a moment to pause any mental activity occupying your mind as you settle in and tune into the breath. Inhale deeply, hold it for a moment, and then exhale, letting all the muscles in your body relax. And take another deep breath. Hold it for a moment, and then exhale, letting all the muscles in your body loosen. And allow the rhythm of your breathing to become natural. Just observing your breath without trying to change it or regulate it in any way. As you inhale, notice where the air enters your body. Perhaps it's the cool air entering your nostrils or the chest and lungs expanding. And as you exhale, allow your body to become even more still. Keep observing the breath as it enters and leaves your body. The more you tune in, the more you notice the peace that comes when you are still and open to the sensations of your body breathing. Notice your bones feel lighter, almost floating on the inhalation, and then they settle and get heavier on the exhalation. Observe your muscles softly stretch out and then contract. And now we'll begin an exercise to create a feeling of stability. It can help settle the mind and the body, open the heart, and create a sensation of grounding. Picture the most beautiful mountain you can think of, whether from memory or imagination. Take a few moments to chisel out the details. Visualize the soaring snow-covered peak, the jagged slopes, or the blanket of trees at the base. Notice how massive and still it is. As you breathe slowly and deeply, hold this mountain in your mind's eye. Now imagine bringing the mountain into your body. Take on its outline. Your head is the peak, your shoulders, arms, and torso the slopes, your lower body the base. Where you touch the ground, imagine the mountain's roots sinking deeply into the earth. Allow your whole body to be like the mountain, dignified and majestic, rising up from the earth and towering high into the sky. Embody these qualities and sit tall, grand, and noble. Your body stable like the mountain, your breath free like the wind, and your mind clear like the sky. If you feel your posture wavering, or you notice you've wandered off into thought, let that be okay. Give yourself a kind, gentle nudge to come back to the mountain. Visualize and embody it. Trust that the mountain hasn't gone anywhere. It's been there for millions of years. Grand, fast, and still. Hold this feeling, strong and grounded, and follow your breath closely, slow and deep. And with your eyes still closed and still like a mountain, relax your attention. Mountains have the power to move and inspire. The mere sight of them can calm us, quiet our concerns, and ground us to the earth. So keep this practice on hand and go to it whenever you feel you need strength, stability, or peace, and a calm mind. As James Connolly said, may you stand just like a mountain in a storm along the sea, and may you always find the answer to be free. Now gently come back to the room. Wiggle your fingers and toes, and whenever you're ready, open your eyes. Allow these feelings of stability, peace, and strength to remain with you throughout the day. And now, I'd like to bring your attention to this painting and invite you to examine it. Robert was born in 1821 to a Scottish-Canadian father and an African-American mother, and was educated in Canada and lived much of his adult life in Cincinnati and Detroit. He moved to Cincinnati as an adult at a time that the city was a center for the abolitionist movement. As far as his artwork, he was mostly a painter, but he did do some photography. but he's most known for his landscape paintings like this one that we have here. The location of this landscape is unknown. It's believed to have come from his imagination. So around age 51, well, this was painted in 1851, just after the Compromise of 1850, and some of the roughest years of slavery. The transatlantic slave trade was still going on. And as you can imagine, just Robert using his imagination to create a piece like this, we can call to remembrance how important theology was back in the 19th century. I mean, religion and spirituality is still important to the African American community, but even more so back then during times of struggle. And we can think about, you know, just creating a new kingdom or the idea of a new Jerusalem and what that might have meant to Robert when he was creating this piece. I like to look at this single bird right here, but also this mountain in the back. What do you guys think the mountain symbolizes?
Not looking at what was current, but was
Right.
looking, projecting something that was coming. Right. Yeah, I still think, you know, when I look at that mountain, I do see lookout.
Over on the right.
Over on the right. But I think that there's a bigger picture there
Right,
that goes back a whole lot further than the abolitionist movement.
right. And also today, we wanted to call to our attention the difficult emotions that Black men, Black people in general, we all face, but more so when you feel closed in and you feel like you don't have an outlet or you're not allowed to express your emotions. At age 51, Robert was admitted to a mental institution because he just went through this like mental decline. His brain couldn't take what he was going through and he just checked out. And I think about, I was living in Jacksonville last year and I live downtown, but every day I would walk to the water to meditate, and on my way I would see homeless men, homeless women, but they were predominantly Black. And I would talk to them, but there was this one guy and he would just sit at the bus stop and he would just talk to himself. He would talk to himself. It was like he was in a loop. He would talk to himself and then he would just flail his arms and then he'll talk to himself, flail his arms. Every day it was like he was living inside of a 5 to 10 second loop where some type of pain, some type of trauma caused his brain to snap. And the only thing he felt that he could do was live inside of this 5 to 10 second loop where he talked to himself and he flailed his arms. And just that realization that, you know, sometimes we carry so much, so many burdens, and we keep it inside of us and we don't know how to talk about it. But I do want to, as I said downstairs, when I discovered this ancient practice of meditation, it allowed me to kind of recognize the illusions and the system that we are in, but to also use my imagination to envision something else. Because if you can't see yourself living in a peaceful place, and if you can't see yourself creating this place where everybody can live as brothers and sisters and where love just abounds and we all have abundance, then you can't create it. The imagination is very powerful. It's very important for us to hold on to our imagination and our creativity. The mayor said that he sees this as a city of creatives, but you have people, predominantly Black people, who live in a state of survival. And if you're constantly worrying about how you're going to feed yourself, how you're going to feed your family, if you're going to have a place to stay. I mean, I go even further back to slavery. You know, we were like, is today going to be the day that I die? And sometimes I have that same fear. If I see a police officer get behind me, I know that I've done nothing wrong. I'm probably listening to Miles Davis, but my heart rate increases. And I have to go back to my practice of meditation to tell myself that the thoughts that I'm having, though they are well-founded, that, you know, that what I'm creating right now is not real. These thoughts that I'm having is just my monkey mind, as we call it. It's just my monkey mind creating these things. And sometimes we find it to be true in our relationships. We may think that our partner is thinking a certain way or acting a certain way, and we come up with a story. And then that creates, like, now we're worried about this issue. It's so many things but meditation says, you know what? Just be still. Just find the place where you can be still, where you can create this haven, this kingdom, where you can go to this garden and say, you know what? It's okay. Let it be okay. And if there is turmoil and if there are problems that you are experiencing, guess what? That's okay too. Because you aren't the only person that has been dealing with something or that has dealt with something along the way. And that's why it's important for us to create a community. I'm glad that I have my brothers that I can talk to, though we create art, but we still talk about real life situations. And I have a friend in Jacksonville, his name is Eddie. Every time he calls me, he feels like there's something wrong. He'll be like, bro, you all right? And I just break down crying. Like, I'm like, no, like, it could be, and nothing could be wrong, but every time he asks a question, like, okay, you've opened the space, like, so let me lay my burdens down. And I read a passage the other day that I wanted to offer to you all. When Jesus was saying, I consider Jesus as my brother, you know. I'm not really the type of person who, you know, sees Jesus as this far off character that nobody can become. I see him as my brother who walks along the path with me. So when he said, you know, my yoke is easy and my burden is light, I looked up the definitions to yoke and burden. Yoke means to bind together, to join together in the sense of a community. Jesus had 12 disciples. He had 12 homeboys. I mean, one betrayed him, but up until that point, he had 12 homeboys that he could trust, that he was trying to teach, you know, or give the keys of the kingdom to. But he said, if you join together with me, and I learned that burden, another word for burden is message. So what he was saying was, if you join together with me, my message, the things that I have to give you is light. It's easy, it's love. Like, so if we can join together in community and give each other, like, meditation is is an ancient practice that reveals new truths to us that we've always known. It's just a fact, it's just a matter of remembering, calling to our attention things that we already know that have been placed in us, whether it's in our DNA, the genetic code, or our spirits, because I definitely believe we have been here for millions of years.
When we learn what genetic memory is all about,
Right.
for all Homo sapiens sapient,
Mm-hmm.
we'll forgive ourselves and we'll forgive the others.
Right.
Because there is no base reality.
Right. I like that she says there is no base reality, because it's quantum, like, things are not linear. We create them as we go, you know. So like she said, if we can identify this genetic memory, there's sometimes the things that we carry aren't even ours. Like the pain that we have, the trauma that we experience, the fears that we have, they're not even ours. And so if you want to take that passage that Jesus said, you know, my burden is light, like, he just give it to me, just let it go. Let it go. But I don't want to lessen, you know, the gravity of what that means, because sometimes it does get to that point. Caleb said earlier in his piece where you think suicide is a viable option. And I, as a realist, I'm like, you know, I don't blame anybody that wants to check out from this life, because it is hard. It's like, sometimes it gets unbearable. But the importance of having a community, knowing that you don't have to do it by yourself, knowing that you have people that you can lean on when you're weak, or when you feel like, you know, I like to relate everything to relationships, because, you know, what you have between one-on-one is beautiful. You know, you can connect it to the entire world. But if you're in a relationship and you and your partner are having an issue, it's nice to take a step back and go and talk to somebody who can, you know, just get you out of your own head, to get you to see the bigger picture of everything that's going on. And That's why I like having my brothers that I can talk to, or, you know, my friend Eddie, and now you all. So yeah, just with this piece now, I just want to kind of give you all a call to action and give you all a challenge to create community wherever you go, to connect with people on a deeper level than how you have been connecting with people. Like, to see, when you see someone, to see the light in them, to see that they are just like you, that we are one and the same. We all come from the same source. The only thing that separates us is what this system or these illusions tell us makes us different. But at the end of the day, we are Homo sapiens sapiens. We have the same struggles. We sometimes have the same fears. We have the same needs. We want to be loved. We want to be cared for. We want to feel secure. We want to eat. We want to poop. We want, you know, like, at the end of the day, we're all called to be Christ-like, to have the mind of Christ, like, to be, in a way, brainwashed, because we have been separated from love for so long. And so when we reconnect with each other, we'll reconnect with the source and also reconnect with ourselves. Thank you all for coming. I'm Brophesor X.